Hey Russell, how are you doing?
Hello, are you hardcores? I'm joined by Bob. I'm all right, Bob. How are you?
Good, thank you, my friend.
Good, nice to see you. Hope you're
Yeah,
well.
it's been a while. Uh, I was away on vacation, and then before that, I don't know, probably about 3 weeks maybe since we spoke.
Yeah, but it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, I spoke to you when you were away. You
yeah,
seemed like you were having a good time. Where did you went to Sugar Ray Robinson's grave in Los Angeles, didn't you?
I did. That was really a good experience at Inglewood Cemetery because I was staying in Redondo Beach, and it's all in the greater Los Angeles area.
Yeah,
So I went to see Sugar Ray Robinson's gravesite. As you know,
yeah.
Sugar Ray Robinson is my all-time favorite fighter, and yeah, it was really good. It's really well maintained, well kept, beautiful, beautiful resting place. Yeah,
He nearly won the light heavyweight title, didn't
he did. It was heat exhaustion that stopped him. In fact, in that fight, they had to replace the referee because the referee collapsed of heat exhaustion.
he? Never. I didn't know that, Bob.
Yeah, the ref had to be substituted in.
That's what a great fighter, though. Even Muhammad Ali admitted that he was a better fighter than him, didn't
Yeah, I mean, Ali said that, something along the lines of, I may be the world's best heavyweight boxer, but the best boxer is Sugar Ray. And Joe Lewis also said the same thing as well.
he? Yeah.
So,
Oh,
when Muhammad Ali and Joe Lewis say that Sugar Ray was the best, you're in pretty good company if you think that as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me just answer. This guy has emailed me in. I just want to give him a reply to his answer. He said,
Sure.
Who stayed in the ring longer, Peter Fury or Flex Ingle?" I think it was Peter Fury. He had one fight as a pro, and he completed a round and quit on his stool against Dave Jules, my friend from Doncaster. The flex lasted 30 seconds in his amateur debut. And the question's from Spud Gun. So there's your answer, Spud Gun. So,
Di-
okay.
Didn't Peter Fury compete as a light heavyweight? Was it light
No,
heavyweight one round?
heavyweight. Peter fought
Oh,
at
he was
heavyweight.
a full heavy, was he? I
Yeah.
know he did. He completed one full round. Didn't he quit on his stool, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, it says it on box record, yeah. Retired after
Yeah.
one round. So it is what it is, isn't it? But he did an interview the other day and it said, I die or something before I lose or something. I'd have to carry me out and all that. Look, well, it's all lip service in it, but we do it tongue in cheek, don't we? People need to remember when they come out with things on social media and interviews after interview, when the ice breaks, I'll be waiting because I don't see anybody else putting these questions to these people. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I wish you'd been at the Usyk Dubois press conference and that you'd been allowed to ask questions. It would have been a lot more interesting than what it was.
Of course it would, but because Queensbury made it so I couldn't have a press conference 10 years ago. Sorry, a press pass 10 years ago. So it is what it is. But I haven't seen the full press conference. I've only had snippets, sorry, that people send me on my WhatsApp. But if you want to fill me in on what happened, Bob, before we cover the Eubank Ben scenario, what's
Well,
I know he
yeah,
pushed.
I
I've
mean,
seen the push at Wembley on the pitch.
yeah. The whole thing is shameful. I've done a couple of videos on my channel about it because it actually is embarrassing. I I don't really have a beef with Daniel Dubois. Dubois is a very simple fellow. I believe that this trifecta of Darth Warren, Don Charles, and Stan Dubois really wind up and control Daniel Dubois. So I don't really have anything bad to say about Daniel Dubois. But Don Charles and that son of his, George Fox, I think that they've embarrassed British boxing. Usyk is a guest in Britain at the moment. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. At least he owns most of the belts, except for the one that Dubois has, which he, gave away. And Don Charles, wrapping himself in this cloak of self-righteousness, saying that he's a God-fearing man and an honest man, is
No.
accusing Usyk of cheating and lying about the low blow. After that fight, the first Dubois Usyk fight, Frank Warren appealed to the WBA. The WBA went through it frame by frame by frame. They did not order a rematch or
The
anything like that.
photographs clearly show it was a low blow.
Absolutely. And so Don Charles and that son of his, George Fox, insulting and quite frankly, defaming, like as in, the tort of defamation, slander, Usyk is, in my view, it's unforgivable. And given that both George Fox and Don Charles have licenses issued by the British Boxing Board of Control, it's my own personal view, just one guy's opinion, that the British Boxing Board of Control should sanction them for bringing boxing into disrepute.
They won't do
The
it.
way
They
that they,
won't do. They won't do because Dubois is a brick top fighter.
I understand that, but what should happen and what will happen are, of course, as we know, two different things. But you know what I would like to see? I would like to see Usyk say, "Forget it. Your fight's off. The biggest fights you've ever had is off. I'll go and fight with Turki Al Sheikh in Riyadh, and I'll take on Joseph Parker instead, and you can sue me." That's what I'd like to see. Of course, that won't happen. Usyk's conducted himself as a complete gentleman, honestly, without you know, without sounding like a fanboy. Usyk has come across as a complete gentleman, as has his team, and that clown, that immature clown George Fox, and that self-righteous, bitter man Don Charles are actually embarrassing. There is shame on British boxing, and in my view, they've cost Dubois fans. I look at a whole bunch of YouTube channels out there,
They
from
do.
Hatman with 89,000 subscribers, G-Man and others, and most of the comments, the vast majority of the comments, are highly supportive of Usyk and highly critical of Don Charles. If I was Stan Dubois, I'd be having a word with Don Charles because he's costing Dubois fan support, in my view.
Right. This is how I look at it. I don't know George Fox. He's had 5 fights as a pro. He hasn't had a stoppage yet. He's not fought anybody with a winning record. And he hasn't stopped
Stopped.
anybody. He's a feather dusting man and he's talking like an absolute bully. Right. He's a big, scary black man who's a bully. That's all he is. Right. He's trying to get his sen out there. His dad's training him, fair enough, but he's done nothing and achieved nothing. And he's said his bit. Right, well, why don't he go spar Usyk then if he wants to get it out of his system? Go and be Usyk's sparring partner, like David Allen did. And let's see what you're about. Because when David Allen went to spar Usyk, David showed respect. But they sent him packing and said, look, you're not going to be any good as a sparring partner. And George Fox would be sent packing. Just like David Allen when he sparred Vladimir. They gave him £1,500 after a week and sent him on his way. Usyk
Yeah.
did the same thing. That guy couldn't lace Usyk's boots, George Fox, and he hadn't even had a stoppage. And what did he say? I'll take your skin off and all. I know.
Yeah,
Vileness. All they're doing is trying to paper over the cracks. On the night, the corner was inept. There was rank amateurs, strictly fourth division on the night. That's the bottom line. And Don
yeah,
Charles, in my opinion, is not with a brass, right? Chisora sacked him 6 times and he went back 6 times. If that were your wife shagging about, you wouldn't prove
yeah.
that, would you? So
No,
Don
no.
Charles is about money. And he's got no respect off me. He don't get my respect, Don Charles, right? And start chatting nonsense like that. He won't get through that front door, mate, to have a cup of coffee with me. I won't have him in this house. There you go.
Well,
So, all that about him being this God-fearing man and this and that.
it's
Every
all
time I
BS.
see Don Charles on Talksport, all I see is him crying about how he's had it hard and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you've had it that hard in boxing, go and get a job instead of poncing. And his
Well,
son fights on Big Ron's show on a ticket deal next month in Sheffield at Sheffield Skate Arena. So there you go, which holds about 500. So that's where
Well,
he's at.
I'll tell you, Russ, I don't think that there's another heavyweight boxer on the planet who would have tolerated George Fox doing what George Fox did to
Well, they're
Alexander
just
Usyk.
trying to hype it up, aren't they, and be disrespectful. But do you know what? They're trying to take Usyk out of his stride. And you'd have thought Bricktop would have come out and said, here, let's show that, let's put some respect on this man's name. Let's give him his flowers. This man is 335 and 15 as an amateur. Rematched 11 of them. And he couldn't get his hands on the other four, and they were all robbery.
Mm-hmm.
He's won European, World, Olympic gold. He won the WBSS gold. He beat Joe Joyce in the final. And out of the Brits, he's done Bellew, Joyce, he did him at WBSS. We know Edgear, Chisora, Fury twice, Joshua twice, and Dubois, and he'll end up doing him twice. I think he's beat 8 or 9 world champions, right? He's undefeated, undisputed at cruiserweight and heavyweight, and this will be twice when he's done Dubois, who's running around with a belt that's not even his. He got it by email.
Exactly.
Right? So Dubois, as far as I'm concerned, he's a paper champion, because if it were anybody else outside the UK circle, people like Bricktop and all them around him would be saying, he's a paper champion, him. Well, that's what Dubois is, aka John Coffey, the giant mute. You see where I'm coming from? He's a paper
absolutely.
champion, big stiff. That's the
absolutely.
And he's only going to back because his father's training him and they're getting paid. But you're not getting 10%, are you, Don? They're not getting 10%. They're on wages, mate. Old man Dubois calling shots. Mark Tibbs and his dad Jimmy Tibbs figured them out after one session. He went, what do you think? And what did Mark Tibbs and his dad say? Thank you, but no thank you. And there you go. And that was all she wrote. And sent him on the way. And everybody was saying he's going to make the next champion, that. But they didn't want to work with him. Now, Don Charles, he's a brass, right? He's a brass. They put a skirt on him and tell him what to do. And put him on he's on wages, mate. He's not on a cut, he's on wages, mate. And there you go. But if he wants to brass himself off like that, fair enough. But he's a paper champ. That's it. And he's some big stiff who hadn't done no in the game. He's had 5 fights, and I don't see a win over anybody. 4-1 he is. He's not had a win over anybody with a winning record. He's already been beat, and he's just trying to make a name for himself to get it mixed. That's it. He's not even had a stoppage. I mean, if you've had 5 fights as an heavyweight and not had a stoppage, you're heading for a job on doors as a bouncer. Pop, pop, bang. There you go.
Brilliantly put, Ross. Brilliantly put.
Big stiff George Fort. Whoa, roadman killer. Do me a favour.
Well, whoever he's fighting in the small hall show upcoming, I hope absolutely wipes the floor with him, because George Fox is now my most disliked fighter. He's actually topped Ben Whittaker as the guy I dislike the most in professional boxing.
He's fighting TBA on a Big Ron show. That's where he's at in his career. He's fighting TBA on a Big Ron show.
Russ, I hope TBA absolutely thrashes him. I don't care who TBA is, but TBA has got my vote.
I know. So it is what it is, isn't it?
It is.
Right, before we get to Ben and that, Ben Eubank, right. Joshua Fury, somebody's asked me this question. It's Jonathan. He sends me about 8 and 9 a day, so I'm gonna have to read one of them out because he's one of the members of my channel. So feel free to join. Just click the subscribe button on members. Right, Jonathan's asked me, and he knows my feeling on this. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Dylan White, Derek Chisora, Joe Joyce, and Deontay Wilder. Why are they hanging around the sport like bad smells? Which one of them is not past his best? Because I think they're all past the best a long time ago. Which one? Who do you think? Which one's not past the best? None, are they?
Joyce is cooked, White's cooked, Chisora's cooked,
Wilder,
Wilder's very cooked.
Joshua.
Joshua and Fury are the only two who might still have a little bit of time in the oven remaining, but
Ooh.
they're well past their best.
Right,
You know,
right.
yeah.
Do you think that Fury? Sorry, do you think that Wilder, the Gads come out on Talksport? I did a video on it yesterday. The Gads come out and he says that Joshua's going to fight Wilder. Now, that fight was supposed to be agreed in 2018 at the Vladimir Joshua fight. They said the winner
Well,
gets this man here ringside, Deontay Wilder. And everybody went, "Oh, Eddie, you're the best, you're the best." 8 years later, it's still not made. Since then, they've both had numerous visits to canvas, and
yeah.
we've got about 8 or 9
Um,
losses between them, haven't they?
yeah, I mean, AJ and Fury is well overdue. It would just be putting a period at the end of a sentence. AJ and Wilder, I mean, I would have to be I would have to be really, really bored to want to watch that fight. Um, like Wilder is so overcooked. I can't. I don't think that fight will happen. I actually don't think that AJ would bother stepping in the ring with Wilder. I mean, there's no guarantee Wilder's going to even get through the journeyman. He's fighting fairly soon. I don't even know when Wilder's fighting. That's how much interest Wilder really retains from me. He was fighting this guy who used to be a fan of his. I can't remember the guy's name, like a really a nobody, a George Fox type fighter. Um, so I think the only fight for AJ is the Fury fight. But apparently Fury believes that he's beaten Usyk twice. I did a video
In
this
his
morning,
in his
and
small numbskull mind.
well, I said that beware, Orcam mushrooms can cause hallucinations and delusions because anybody who saw either of those fights knows that Fury was rinsed, as I believe you would say. He was well beat.
Well be.
And round 9 of the first fight is on permanent loop in my den. It's one of the nicest things that I see in boxing. Um, but that no, get to get back to your question, Russ. AJ and Wilder, I really can't see that. It's like nobody would want to see it now. Like Wilder, his last two performances, they were shameful. They were pathetic. And I just don't want to see an athlete putting himself through that. Like Wilder should just go. Like, please, he overachieved for his skill level, but now he's just not even a shell of himself, is he?
Yeah, no. Okay. Look, this is how I look at it, right? Usyk fought Joshua and he fought Fury for 48 rounds, the pair of them. And according to me, and according to Ring Magazine, and according to KO Magazine, Boxing News, everybody agrees that Usyk lost 12 rounds out of 48. Right? Do you agree with that, Bob?
Yeah, I think I said that maybe
They were very
Fury
easy
won.
to score, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, Fury maybe won 7 out of the 24, and maybe if I'm generous, AJ did as well. So what's that? That would be 14 out of
well, Ring
48.
Magazine
So
say 12, don't they? And
yeah,
like the press people.
you know,
Gareth A. Davis, he says different because he knows he has to keep his bread buttered with Fury. Bricktop, he had Fury winning by 1 round, but he had to do. But this is the same guy that says he had Shiraz against Adamas a draw. So if he's got it a draw, it means his guy lost, doesn't it? And it was a draw, by the way, wasn't it? But these people slip and slide, don't they?
yeah, yeah, no, like I say, at my most generous, I would go to 14. Um, like really, yes, like they both got beat comprehensively twice, twice each. Like how many times does Usyk have to beat British fighters before people say Usyk beat this fighter?
Well, it is what it is, isn't it? But as far as I'm concerned, Usyk's the man. He's run through two divisions, ran
Yeah,
through them, and he's looked very comfortable. If the referee says it's a low blow, Usyk's going to take a breather. And if it were a low blow, which it looked like it were, and it didn't take 5 minutes. It took what, 3 minutes 20 seconds.
yeah. I read 3 minutes 45 seconds, but
Oh,
regardless,
he
he
didn't
was
take the full
allowed.
5 minutes. So I don't
No,
know why Don Charles and that always are squealing. They're just trying to make the dad look good. They're just trying to make Don Charles look like this. Go to Don Charles. He's the best. The Dark Lord. Listen, if Don Charles were any good, Josh would have gone to him, wouldn't he? Because he's been
yeah,
round all the houses. He's trained with everybody. But it was Don Charles who were first training with him when he was an amateur, and he's never used Don Charles once. So what's that tell you about Don Charles? He's shite. That's the bottom line.
yeah.
Shite. End of.
Well, how many world champions has Don Charles trained?
Well, Dubois, and he got it by an email. So there you go.
Exactly. Thank you.
So that's where we're at on that one. Okay. Uh, Usyk, apparently, from what somebody sent me in a screenshot, did he storm out of the media thing after they were sticking it to him, or did he walk away or something? I don't know what's happened. What happened at the media thing, Don? Sorry, Don. Bob, sorry.
Um, the press conference.
Yeah, what happened? Did
Uh,
Usyk handle it
y-
all right? Because he looks like
y- y-
he's pretty cool,
yeah,
calm and collected, isn't he?
there was. I did not see any evidence of Usyk storming anywhere or doing anything that was like anything other than what Usyk is normally like. Usyk has conducted himself, like I say, total professional, complete gentleman, pleasure to watch. His English has gotten better.
Yeah.
He's
He's learning
even
English, isn't
easier to
he?
listen to. Hey,
He's learning English, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, no, he absolutely, yeah. His English has gotten much better. Um, and honestly, I can't believe that Usyk gave George Fox the time of day, like to get up and he lifted up his shirt and he showed where he was hit and everything. Um, can you imagine any heavyweight in
They'll go like
history?
that, won't they? Get him out of here. They say, "Who the fuck is this guy? Get him out of here."
Well, and there's some
Gaffer.
and there's some heavyweight champions who would have wiped the floor with him, and he'd be in the dental chair for the next 6 months getting implants put in his gob.
Well, what you're forgetting here, Bob, is this. The father put him up to it because they want to get him in the mix and get some of these gimmick fight money. It's all about being out there on social media now and getting yourself in the mix. Look at the people kissing George Fox's arse now. He's a poor journeyman and that's all he's ever going to be. But people
Yeah,
are putting him in mixes. Oh, he deserves an area belt title shot and all that. And George Fox against Johnny Fisher and George Fox against Dave Allen. It's all about the old Bunsen burner kid.
yes, I suppose you're right. I just want to see him iced out in the ring with an oxygen mask on
Well,
his
he's
face.
disrespected an all-time great, on him really. And let me tell
Yeah,
you, if Usyk were a brick top fighter, that wouldn't have happened at a press conference. Let me tell you now, lad.
no. No, like I say, it's actually embarrassing. I think it's brought boxing into disrepute. It's shameful, and I think it's driving British fans away from Dubois. I suspect that on Wembley Stadium night, July the 19th, there'll be as many British fans shouting for Usyk as they would be for the home fighter, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree. Uh, Moving on then from the adventures of Mr. Fox, is Eddie Hills Porky a marketer or a boxing promoter? Which is, well, I don't think he's a good boxing promoter. I think he's a good marketer. I don't think he's a good boxing promoter because I look at it like this. What has he done with anybody from debut? Yeah, he had Anthony Joshua from debut, but an Olympic gold medalist. But what has Eddie done with anybody from debut who weren't Team GB or an Olympian? Can anybody
No,
name me one world champion he's had from debut?
no, none. He's a great salesman.
Zero.
He's a great salesman. He could sell. He could sell.
Well, he's got the platforms, hasn't he, to
Yeah,
spout drivel and
but
rubbish.
he's
All these
but he's
YouTubers in his ear rolling up his arsehole.
yeah. No, I think he's just a snake. As you know, I have very little respect for boxing promoters as a breed. Eddie Hearn is just a snake. He's a great salesman. He could sell snow to the Inuits, right? But as a boxing promoter, no. And I think he's heading out of the door. I think he sees the writing on the wall. He's going to cash out Joshua. He's going to cash out. Who else has he got of note? Well, Conor Ben, I guess. Katie Taylor, and after that, I think he's done. I wouldn't. I don't see him sticking around, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Somebody just sent me a text there saying that Jarrell Miller's pulled out the Wardley fight.
Yeah,
It's fueling
I did a video on that.
speculation.
Uh, Sorry, Russ, I spoke over you. Say
Well,
again.
no, yeah, I'm gone.
I did a video about this yesterday because I saw it reported on a few different platforms. I saw the Sun newspaper reported it, and a couple of YouTubers reported it. So I did a video about it yesterday. I don't know why. I mean, we could speculate because, of course, Big Pharma Miller is a PED aficionado,
Yeah.
but it could well be for other reasons. He was having some contractual disputes with Salita, right? So have those come back? Because they stopped him from having a fight previously. I can't remember against whom now, but who knows? If it's PED use, I would like to see a permanent ban because Big Baby Miller has had what, three failed tests, maybe
But
more.
it's seven different substances of a
Yeah,
free,
and some of
free
them were
issues.
injections, right? Like it's not something that you could accidentally eat because you found clomiphene in the fridge, but it was stuff that you injected.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. What Tony Bellew and all the rest of them. Eddie Hills, the Iceman, 7-0, five by way of course. It'll be interesting to see what the Billy Ricky Iceman, Tony Bellew, Crusher Ben, Tyson Fury, and all the rest of all these that have been involved in drug testing. Let's see what they've got to say now, because when Miller popped last time, Coogan Cassius. Umar IFL, and all the rest of them, they all went after him. But yeah, we don't see that same energy for Crusher Ben, do we?
Oh no. Oh no. I mean, it's eggs. He was, omelets,
Hmm.
scrambled, whatever. Yeah, no. And nobody wants to talk about Huey Fury. Didn't he also take some time out?
Yeah, he got a 2-year ban, you, didn't he? But it's
Yeah,
all shrouded in mystery. But I don't see anybody pulling them about it. But it's one of them, isn't it?
actually, am I not? I might be mistaken. At the time that Tyson Fury and Huey Fury had some, shall we say, substance problems, were they not both trained by Peter Fury?
Yeah, yeah, apparently.
Huh.
But nobody wants to talk about it because they're all scared to death of Peter, aren't they? But it is what it is. Nobody's going to admit it. It's all shrouded in mystery and non-disclosure this and non-disclosure that and blah de blah. But Tyson got to the promised land in the end, didn't he? We are them
He
lot.
did. He
So we
did.
have
He
to give
most
him
certainly.
credit because his CV doesn't warrant the money he's made. That's the
No, actually,
problem.
Joshua's CV is better. And I did
Yeah.
an analysis of this. Joshua's CV is better. And I'm not holding out Joshua as being an all-time great here either.
None of them
His
are. None of
CV.
them are all-time greats, mate. None of them. Fury's CV, what? Wilder twice and Vladimir and Steve Cunningham are pumped up old cruiserweight, washed up. That's it, life and death.
And
So
one mandatory. Dillian White, the only mandatory.
I know. Okay. Somebody sent me an email in. I forgot. I'm not sure if it was Mikey or Glenn or somebody. I forget now. And somebody's mentioned if I've got that wrong, you'll remind me in an email tomorrow. Isaac Lowe put a tweet out. It's an old tweet somebody's dug up, and I've never seen this, but I found it funny. Isaac Lowe, aka Bamba Gascoigne, aka Mastermind, aka Won't Have a Bath, put a tweet out, and he's never probably seen a football match in his life. Uh, Bigging up Pele when Pele, the footballer, soccer player, whatever you want to call it, died. Isaac Lowe put a massive tweet out, and tagged Pelly in, saying what a great fighter you are and he's going to be missed and all this. Sorry, a great footballer you are and he's going to be missed. And it said, and he sent it to the Romford Pelly, which is Ray Parlour, the Arsenal footballer.
Oh,
And
okay.
he sent it to Ray Parlour, the Romford Pelly. And Ray Parlour replied, "Yeah, nice one for that, Isaac. I'm still about or something."
Well,
But
I don't think Isaac Low IQ um is yeah, I mean
did I
that's
tell you that one about Isaac Lower at airport handing his passport in at McLaren Airport at Vegas? And they said, "What you got planned for tonight, Mr. Lowe?" As they're giving him his passport back, and he says, "Oh, we're going to go into Manhattan for a night out with a big fella." He says, "Oh, that's miles away, that from me." And he went, "Ah, no, don't worry about that. Tyson, just jump into middle of the road and flag a taxi down." So somebody said, one of the airport people said, "Isaac, Mr. Lowe, you are here and Manhattan is here. Is it 3,000
I,
miles?
a, a continent away.
A
Yes.
continent
No.
away?" And he were like, Good old
Well,
Isaac Lowe, but we're not having a dig. We're not having a dig about him. How we calling him Bamba Gascoigne? It's just I just find stuff like that funny. Last time I saw Isaac Lowe, he was smoking around in a 57 plate Passat, Volkswagen Passat, silver with a red bonnet. So it is what it
well, it is what it is. Though I'll tell you this, a friend of mine came to stay with me many, many years ago when I was living in Vancouver, and he was planning to take a day trip to drive to see the Rockies and back.
is.
And I pointed out that that's also not possible. Even if he'd had a helicopter, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been possible. The Rockies are a long way away. Anyhow,
Okay.
pe-
Uh,
people make mistakes.
they do, yeah. So Isaac Lowe, go take night classes on history and learn how to type and learn how to write. Go do English classes or night classes at it.
Yeah.
Night school for you, Isaac. English 101. Right, we've got, let's have a look, 7 minutes left. Ben
Okay.
Eubank, what do you make of it all? Who did you have winning? And what do you think about all this? The rematch has got to be £158. Over to you, Bob. 7 minutes to go.
Okay. The fight was not particularly skillful fight. So if you were a serious boxing person, you weren't going to get much out of the boxing. It was, however, an entertaining scrap. I had Eubank Jr. winning handily. But as much as I am not a fan of Conor Ben, I guess he went up in my estimation a little bit. He came to fight and he fought. He wobbled Eubank in the second round, and there was a couple of other times where I thought that Eubank was going to have problems. I think that Eubank really struggled to make that weight, and I didn't like the rehydration clause that limited him to £10, and he regained nine and change. Um, but I had Eubank winning handily. His output was better. His skill set was better. He bit down and prevailed. I thought was that 116, 112 was not unfair. If you really were a Conor Ben fan, you might have gone to 115, 113. I noticed that the AI judge had it 117, 111. I wouldn't have argued with that either, to be honest with you. I've no interest whatsoever in a rematch, and 158 is ridiculous. I don't think that Conor Ben, who has had his last two outings prior to this at 154, needs any more advantages. I think it's disgusting that Eddie Hearn is sort of like was gleeful trying to squeeze that last ounce out of Chris Eubank Jr. If I was Chris Eubank Jr., I would campaign now at 168. Don't bother with fighting Conor Ben again. Conor Ben, whatever he wants to do, he can go and do. He's talking about fighting at welterweight. Well, good for you. Go find somebody to fight. Um, I don't see a brilliant future for Conor Ben, even though he did perform well. He exceeded my expectations. I don't think he's close to world class. And Chris Eubank Jr., very close to the end of his career. If he has any more fights, I think they should be at 168. There you go.
Yeah. What do you think to Tony Bellew's 8-4 to Ben card?
Tony Bellew was watching a different fight than the fight that I saw.
It's become embarrassing now. Okay, I just want to finish off on this then. Uh, we spoke about hanging around like bad smells. Now, what about the media? Right, they've now become too comfortable in their positions. We know about the talk spot lot, don't we? Judge Jordan, the Gad, and Jug Ears. What about that Sky lot? Johnny Nelson, Horsecock, and the rest of them, Anna Woolhouse, hanging around like bad smells. And then we've got the DAZN lot, Darren Barker, and Tony Bellew. When are these lot just going to start telling the truth when they get that microphone in their hands instead of being lickers from the liquor squad?
Yeah, well, they're just paid hired hands, and in fact, Darren Barker is Eddie Hearn's brother-in-law, is he not? Something like that.
No,
There's some
Darren Barker's married to, is it Barry Hearn's PA? Is it, or the
okay. I knew there was some familial relationship or something like that. Look, they're just hired hands. They are employees of the promoters, directly or indirectly. Um, I I really, well, the other lads, we've all talked about the quality of the broadcasting, both at the Zone, the Sky, and the so-called journalists at Talksport. They're all a shower of whatever, insert whatever swear word you like. Honestly, Ross, they're pathetic. It's not worth listening to. Um, and yeah, it's embarrassing because they are grown men who've all got money and they've all sort of sold out. And yeah, I don't know. It makes watching these shows significantly less enjoyable.
Bit like Froch coming out saying it's a dangerous fight and it shouldn't be happening, but why didn't he put that to Crusher Ben in the interview?
Well, because he sold out. To whom I don't know, but he certainly, well, it's again embarrassing that a former world champion with more money than he can shake a stick at, beautiful wife, beautiful family, lowered himself to the, and did what he did.
He'll hate himself for that, Carl. I know him very well. He will hate himself. Once he thinks about it, he'll be thinking, I've been played like a cheap fiddler. He'll hate
Yeah,
himself. Looking in the mirror, he'll be like, oh, oh. Because he'll know
yeah,
the mindset about him. He'll be like, I've got it wrong here. But it's up to
yeah,
him to put it right.
yeah. It is sad to be remembered for saying, for acting like that, right? And he had no need. It's not like he was short of money.
He's got oodles of money, hasn't he, Carl? Oodles. Okay, well, listen, Bob, it's been a pleasure to have you on. You're a real addition, and well done on getting you completing your thing to get your YouTube channel up and running. You've got your 1,000 subs, haven't you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It happened on Thursday night. I was watching it. It was 997, 998, and then it was 20 past 10, and it was 1,000.
Oh,
And got up in the morning, and it was like 1,100. I was like, wow.
well,
I
we
never
don't
thought
buy
when I
subs on here like other channels. Channels with a million subs and they're averaging 28,000 a video.
I don't have any.
What are
I
other
don't.
980,000 doing?
I, I'm a pensioner. I don't have any money to spend on buying anything, let alone subs. I never thought anybody would watch my channel, and I'm
Well, we
super
all like
happy.
your opinion, Bob, and I hope that my channel's helped you move forward and help chat
You have, and
situation.
thank you so much. You've been
No
a
problem.
massive support. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And everybody subscribe to Canada's Boxing channel. This is Bob here, YouTube, and Andy's Cavern. All right. And don't forget to give Terry Chappendama's podcast a shout out. The Beautiful Boxing Podcast. All you have to do is Google that. All right. Okay. Thanks, Bob. I'm going to get off because I'm off out to Erdington tonight for a pint and a game of pool. All right.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. Enjoy.
You
Thanks,
take
Ross.
care, Bob.
Appreciate it as
Cheers,
always.
mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Well, that were Bob from Canada. Women love him, men want to be him. Nice to have Bob on. He speaks very clearly and very honestly, and he's become a good pal, and he is part of the Porky Commission. Let's have a look. Go on, peace out, everybody. Have a great day. What's left of it? Booyaka!